You see, this is what people need more, Shabby. I said this yesterday. Turned around and Scuba said, "Do you want to do a stream?" Oh yeah, we'll do a stream. We're doing another one today, but today's a special one. And look who we've got on. We've got the lovely Jeff, the lovely Gary Moore, the lovely Stu. How are you, fellas?
All good, thank you.
Awesome.
So we're here because I wrote it in the I wrote it in the thumbnail. It's unbelievable what you've come hold of, and it's so obviously you're going to tell us a story, and I want you to get Gary on, especially because him and Andy did this last year. They did roughly the same type of thing where they went out and they found some stuff, and I think stuff like what you've got, especially when you show the lads, it's unheard of. It's something that you have to do in it, really. What did you think when you first? I mean, we'll go through the story, but what did you think when you first saw it? Did you wet yourself?
I did actually a little bit, because it's you always hear about, if you're a car guy, you always hear about barn finds, and the Ferrari in the barn, and that's what this situation kind of is. This is the Ferrari in the barn of if you're a vintage Star Wars collector like I am, I collect only vintage. Yeah, I collect G.I. Joe and Star Wars, and the G.I. Joe is kind of tapered off, and it's been all Star Wars for the last year or so, year and a half. And to see this I no matter what happened, I couldn't pass this up.
Can I just say, someone is echoing just a little bit. If someone's got something else on, that'd be perfect. If you can take that off. Let's have a look who's here. So we've got Keep On Collecting here. You can bet your lightsaber in Torn Riding Books. I will watch this on rewind. Cheers. Super Awesome's here. Cycling for fun. You're a busy boy with a life, Shabby. You deserve a spa day. Can you imagine? Gerard. So, Super Awesome. Matt's Collection. Good old Keith. Pete's Toys. Hi, Pete. Des T's here. Good old Des. I'm trying to get down as fast as possible because it's worth the hour or so we're going to do this, just talking to you guys. Fuller's here. Hi, Connor. Our Sai, Gerard, TJC. God, we were over 35 already, so we appreciate that. And it's worth watching. This is going to, honestly, I've seen what this is. Because we've been talking about this for weeks.
Yeah,
and the same as Gary and Andy, though. They had to tell somebody, guess what we've got? And all that stuff. It's funny as well, because if you notice, fellas, we get just as excited as the people buying them, because we're like, and I think, let me ask you, Gary, I think it's worth more when it's us collectors that find this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, the funny thing is that all of this stuff is still out there, and when you find it, it's like, it can't be. And then you start to see these pictures coming through, and Jeff had shared some pictures with me, and I'm like, oh, wait, I mean, the what he's going to show is just...
Yeah. Have you already put a bid in for some stuff, Gary, yet?
Yeah.
There's two people, Stu, that always do it, VTR and Gary. See, there's somebody show something, are you?
with the stuff you've got, Jeff, are you keeping it for yourself, or are you actually going to get rid of it?
Hey, Martin.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
There's still some decisions to be made on that front.
Yeah.
All
right, so Jeff, tell the story. Tell how this came around. Because the story's just as like Gary and Andy's. Your story's just as interesting as the.
Well, yeah, because it's like I've kind of made a buddy out of this. So this is a little bit long-winded, so bear with me. So I work for a semiconductor company. They make memory and storage for computers, Micron, and I'm a UX designer by trade. I design websites and I manage a team that does all that stuff. So we were getting ready to meet with a business unit in our group, in our company to show them a new part of their website for them. And I was presenting to the group and presenting the comps to them. And sorry, long-winded. I know. Sorry.
No, Karen, don't be daft. It's really you carry on.
So I was working from home, and we do partial time at home, working from home, presenting the stuff, and I went on Zoom, and this is my background in my calls. The blank spot back here there. That was shelving all until last night. I took all that down because I'm getting new shelving of this stuff delivered next week for this collection. But anyways, so this was the backdrop. The main person we needed for that meeting was running late. So we sat around and we met this team. There's probably 10 of us on this call. And one of the guys is like, I always get questions. Oh, what's in your background? What's in your background? It's like, oh, I collect G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Okay, great. One of the girls is like, oh, I have some Star Wars stuff. Oh, cool. Okay, awesome. Fun. Then one of the other guys in the top corner, really quiet, he's like, hey, I have a small Star Wars collection too, and that I've had since I was a kid. And that kind of perks. You always listen for certain things, and so that kind of perks your interest a little bit. Did the presentation, went great, whatever. They loved it. And at the end, I said, hey, John, that was the guy's name. I said, John, you should send me photos of what you got. It'd be fun to talk to you about it sometime and just see what you got. He's like, great, sure. Got off the phone. About an hour later, I got an email from him, and he had sent me a photo of this collection. And it was in a bin. And it was in a bin, like a plastic, half opaque bin. And in it was, you could see a bunch of papers and stuff and a bunch of books and crap like that. And I know, Cy, shut it. And you showed up, Cy, not me. Oh, okay, so it was like this. And it's like, okay, there's some cool stuff in there. But then also on top of it were all of these carded action figures. And yeah, Shabby, I don't know if you have that or not. Yeah,
I'll show you.
So this was I noticed right away there was the movie poster in there. And John was saying so backing up a little bit, I met up with John, and after he sent me this stuff, I said, let's get together. Because he worked in the same, Micron's a multinational company, it's huge. I didn't know if he was in the same location as me. I said, are you in Boise with me? And he's like, yeah, I'm in the Boise office. I was like, great, let's get together for lunch at the cafeteria and chat about this. And I'd love to just pick your brain about it. And so we did. And great guy, awesome guy. And then he's like, well, I brought it with me in the bin. It's in the back of my car. I'm like, oh, crap, don't leave it out in the heat of your car. And so we went out to the car and I'm looking, and in this bin were the first 6 comic books, an original movie poster, a bunch of old Starlog magazines, and a bunch of and then this as the
Look
start.
at that, Martin. Look at that.
And it was the original. Wow. It was the original 12 figures, but then also counting them up, there's a total of 20 figures in there, and they're all carded, and they're all labeled Star Wars, except for 2 of them were Empire Strikes Back. And wow. And they are in immaculate condition. There's no yellowing. There's a few creases here and there and a few little rubs here and there, but nothing. And it's just like, my God, like you said, it's that moment of you never see this anywhere. You don't see this even in stores hardly, or many collections. And so John and I got talking, and I'm like, what do you want to do with this, John? He goes, well, I'm a twin. And he's probably, I'm 54, and he's probably,
how old, Jeff? Don't say that, Jeff. You'll ruin it for all the young ladies.
And he was probably 5 or 6 years older than me. He goes, well, I'm a twin, and when this stuff came out, my twin and I each bought a set of this whole set. I didn't open mine, and he did, and we played with his stuff. Mine went into bins, and they've been in there in the basement ever since. And he goes, my twin died in February. So I'm like, oh God, sorry. And he goes, I just kind of want to get rid of it now. And I'm like, okay, are you sure? I said, well, for what this is worth, I don't think I can afford this. I'm not rich. And it's like, he goes, well, yeah, I know, Karen. It always makes me excited. So I said, it's it's an amazing collection. I can't afford what this is probably going to be worth. I said, what I can do is I can help you be a broker because I've got a large group of friends that might want some of this. And
he didn't. He just said, "I'll get hold of Gary Moore. I'll get hold of
Gary." Between Gary and Andy.
Yeah, I'll just get hold of everything. Oh.
And I said, I can help source you getting rid of this stuff, and then you don't have to deal with all of the shipping. Well, you have to deal with shipping, but you don't have to deal with all the extra costs for eBay and that kind of stuff. And he's like, great. And so we continued to have lunch, and we met one or two more times, and just because he was a really nice guy and we hit it off. And I said, finally, he's like, well, do you want the collection? I mean, you're so excited about it. I said, well, I do, but I can't afford it for what it's worth. I said, well, he said, well, just make me an offer. And I'm like, oh, yeah. As Connor, it's just like, it's crazy. There's such a tinge of sadness to this. It's like, and he's not a collector. He doesn't collect Star Wars. This is the only thing he had. This guy, he doesn't collect anything else. And he's married here he lives here in town and has kids, and he just, family man. And I said, oh, well, I'll make you an offer that I can afford soon, because I'd have to sell some stuff. And if you're willing to wait, and if you're willing to take that offer, then we can do a deal. And he's like, okay. So I offered him $5,000 for the whole thing. And
Wow.
and he's like, Gary. And he's like,
$500. When Jeff said that to us on behind the scenes, we were like, what the France? Everyone's screaming down the sofa.
And this was right before this collection came into my purview a week before we went to Joe Fest. And so I went to Joe Fest just like freaking giddy and talking to the Pete and Shabby and Rob and John and everybody that was there. And it's just like, guys, look at these photos and look at this. And I said, if this comes to fruition, I cannot pass it up, and I can't believe this is going to happen. So I made some phone calls. I'm also doing vintage motorcycle stuff. And so I had a vintage motorcycle. It had been sitting for 10 years, and some friends of mine that helped me with the bikes wanted to buy that. And so I sold them that. And the guy's like, well, I can't get you the money for a few months. But it was for $5,000 for the bike. So selling the one bike paid for this collection. And I got the money for the bike this week and made the deal. And turns out the 5,000 is just for the figures. All the rest of it, Gary, I don't have the rest of it yet. But I think I can get it for, $500 maybe. Yeah. So I can get the rest of it pretty cheap. And John and I've already talked about that. And he's like, I want you to help me sell some of the stuff you don't want, but what you want, And I'm like, great. So long-winded story, I know, but that's how
everyone's loving it.
That's how this kind of showed up.
Keep going.
So
Jeff, just quickly, Jeff. Sorry, did the guy know what the figures were worth?
He did actually. I made sure to tell him. I said, this is, if you were to send these off and get these graded, there's some figures in here that are unpunched, unbent, unsoiled at all, hardly. That would. I just watched a carded 8.5 Luke Skywalker, Farm Boy Luke, 12-back Luke sell for $5,400 at Hakes the other day.
Look how pissed off Martin is.
And this is a long-term investment for me. This is, everyone talks about buying that collection that's your retirement. This isn't retirement, but this is something you can't pass up. And who knows where this is going to go value-wise. But for me as a collector, this is my holy grail moment where I couldn't pass it up. I got to do it.
Well, I will talk about that story that we said, because when we saw the condition of him and so forth, was there a time you were a little bit skeptical? Because even we were like, Look at the bubbles on this. They are. I mean, I don't know what the weather's like in Idaho. Is it? It must be not humid at all. You know.
So John, a little more backstory. John is from California, down LA area, and he moved up here, I think, like 25 years ago, and the stuff had been in his parents' basement until probably about 10 years ago, and then his mom's like, "Hey, I need to get this stuff out of here. Can you?" And so they shipped it up to here, and it's been in his basement ever since. It's super dry here. We never get humidity, and it's very it can we get very cold in the winter and very hot in the summer. I went and played golf today, and it was 101 yesterday, and it was 101 degrees when we finished up. So it gets very hot and it's very cold. So we get all extremes, but yeah, I definitely wanted to give him all the information. He knew what he had coming to me. He didn't know quite the values and stuff where things were at, but he knew he had something valuable. And I'm like, if you don't want to do this deal, I completely understand and get it.
Yeah, you were like that from the beginning with him, weren't you, Jeff?
Yeah, yeah, because it's like I work with this guy and he's a friend, and he told me he goes, I want this collection to stay together because it's my childhood stuff. He goes, it's fine if there's some things go away, but he goes, I want it to go to somebody I know that will appreciate it and appreciate it for a collection that what it is versus just it going out and changing hands. And he goes, I love that you're going to display it in your room, and that because I showed him photos of the area, the office and stuff, and he was I think that's what sold him on it, knowing it was going to be in the area and be here and be with someone who would appreciate it in a community that would appreciate it. Because I told him all about you guys too, and so he's like, "Wow, that's amazing! You guys all, worldwide, literally worldwide, have a group of people that get together and do this stuff." So it's been a pretty amazing. I was just waiting for it to fall apart every day for the last 2 months, and it didn't. Everything kind of came together. It had a little bit of a hiccup yesterday when I went to pick it up, and he's like, "Oh, this is just for the carded figures." I'm like, "Crap! I thought this was for everything. This is what we talked about." and that's fine. I know, being greedy.
Oh.
and so I'm like, John, if you want to sell me for the original 12, because they're the original 12 figures. I said, if you just want to sell me the original 12 for $5, I'll do that too. And he's like, no, I'll do the whole thing.
That's
and
amazing.
Wow.
And so I think I feel a little bad because I know I don't want him to, and I really talked him through on this. Just like, I don't want you doing this for as a knee-jerk decision because your brother died. I don't want you to doing this I don't want you to regret doing this. And I even confirmed it with him again last night when I went over to his house and picked this up. And he's like, can we do this on Sunday? And I said, sure, not a problem. And then he texted me back about an hour later. He's like, can you come over at 9 tonight? I know you're really wanting to get this. I'm like, yeah, I am. He goes, can you come over tonight and I'll meet you at the door with it. And because I've met his wife and hung out and stuff. And yeah, I know. Wait till you see these. Holy crap. And so I even asked him again last night, are you sure you're okay with this? I want to make sure you're good with all this. And he's like, yep, here you go. Take that box and get the hell out of my house. And so I gave him the cash and off we went.
I mean, I know Gary and Andy did you feel the same way, Gary, when Andy got in touch with you last year about that stuff? And I mean, you just couldn't pass it up.
It was one of those ones where Andy kept on sending photos through, and it was like, please stop, because I can't take it anymore. And then he sent me Word documents with the list, and I'm going through and just basically, passing out. And it was, we got to get this done. And then you have that lull of it not happening, or, thinking about back and forth, what are we going to offer? The one thing I would say is that, collector to collector seems to be so big. The other guy that we were talking with had a couple of offers from people that was going to, take it and basically sell it on. And he, as soon as he got wind of the collection was going to be broken up and then dispersed, it was no. I'm going to deal with Andy and Gary so that it goes to collectors, and perfect story.
Because your guys's wasn't the high bid, was it?
Sorry,
your guys's wasn't the high bid on that.
No, we weren't. No,
that's amazing, and I love that it's much more than about the money. To me, I feel like I've moved up into a different, little bit of a stratosphere of collecting, and I'm a bit of a pretender at this point. And because I've always been just a loose figure collector. Granted, my Star Wars figure collection is complete, and it has been for 10 years almost, for the most part, except for a few variants and stuff. But I don't know. This is just a whole different level, and how do you? There's such a monetary investment on this stuff that I can't do this again. I can't do this every 3 months on, if something comes up again, you just can't do that.
It must be the exhilaration of it though, because I remember the first year we came back to North Carolina, we'd gone to a church. We'd been here about 2 weeks. That's it. We'd gone to a church fair. We thought we'll get to know everybody, neighbors and all that sort of stuff. So they're selling their old toys and old furniture. It's just like a jumble sale, if you will. This woman puts this big carrier bag on there, this big bin bag on the table. And I noticed Star Wars figures in there. And I noticed Hoth Luke. That's what I noticed. Because you remember the brown scarf that came down. I thought, She opens this bag. And in it was 11 of the last 17 in mint condition. Mint condition. So I start to shake like an idiot. And I said, how much do you want for them? She goes, oh, we're just asking $2 each. Right? Oh. So I couldn't believe it. I mean, but that's loose figures at a jumble sale. What you have found and what Gary and Andy found. I mean, Stu or Martin, has this ever happened to you where you've come across something where you're like, "What the France?"
No, it hasn't. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for my moment.
You're anointed.
Nothing to this.
Brilliant, Stu. Martin, what about you?
Yeah. Nothing to this magnitude. Absolutely not. I mean, I've had a couple of things that I would consider holy grails in the modern Star Wars realm, but nothing vintage like this. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, my two sides of my jaw are hurting because I'm smiling so much. it's absolutely incredible. As soon as I saw that thumbnail last night, I was like, what's going on? I can't, are you going to show more pictures? Because I'm just eager to see pictures.
Yeah, I'll dive into it.
Well, what I'm going to do then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Jeff big.
I'm already big.
Right here. And if I put myself up there where Jeff is, and then Jeff's just going to show us basically what he's got. So I don't want anyone panicking. I don't want anyone fainting when you see that.
Yeah. When you see this. I'll try to get close-ups and stuff. I'm trying not to handle things too much. I almost tried to find some white gloves for some of this stuff. It's like I washed my hands right before the stream. It's like I don't want oils on this thing. I'll start with so all of the figures are Star Wars carded figures except for two of them.
Hey, Kurt. Right.
And I'll start with the two non-Star Star Wars ones.
We see. Right, so let me just make you even bigger here while we have a look at this.
Okay.
Look at that.
Wow.
So this is unpunched. It's got a little bit of like a price tag there, I think. I don't know.
Residue. Yeah, sticker residue.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Forget it then. We'll just...
Yeah.
Our bottle's clear.
Connor, thanks. It's got a little bit of
work
into it, but nothing major.
Oh, look at the back of that. The colours, the colours are still so vibrant, Jeff.
Yeah.
So that's Snaggletooth, the first one.
Matt's Collection asks, Jeff, do you plan on grading these?
I'm going to grade some of them. I actually just put a big order into Ian's displays for 12 of the acrylic cases, and I love everything that he does on these things. So I had to order stuff with him because if I do grade some, I will. And yeah, I will get some of these graded. It may be a while though, but the acrylics are a must for something like this.
Kurt says, "I'll DM you my address. You don't need that sticker trash in your figure collection."
I know.
Let's just make it even bigger. There we go.
I mean, look at that. That is insanely good.
Look at the bubbles, Stu. That's what got me the most was the bubble.
Yeah. There's not a yellowing on it at all.
Oh my god.
It's amazing what happened with the Return of the Jedi figures, because you'll hardly ever find one without the
bubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that, Gary? Did they change the material of the bubble? Yeah.
Yeah, and they cheapened
the
the plastic, and basically what you have is oil leaching out, which then discolors it.
Right.
It's plastic outgassing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It has a reaction and turns yellow.
It dries and cracks.
Yeah.
How are you feeling, Martin?
I'm actually quite hot, and I brought a bowl in with me for the draw.
Look how great that is!
It's off the factory line.
They look brand new, don't they, Martin? That's the thing. It's like,
so it's got a little bit of rubbing up there.
Oh, again, there's another throw.
Wow.
Okay, anyone else holding their breath? We're all like that, aren't we?
Bear with me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it really is.
Oh, look at that!
I don't know. Is this clear? Is it focus?
Yeah, perfect, mate. It's coming out perfect.
Cheers, Jeff.
Where did that one come from, Jeff?
It says Venture. It says Venture.
Venture.
I assume that's a store down in California where they bought these.
Wow.
Beauty.
Again. Absolutely plumb straight.
I mean, can you just imagine? They're in a box. You're transferring it from location to location, and yet it still stayed that straight, and it has things on the edges.
I bought a bunch of star cases, plastic star cases, and took them to John as soon as I
put them in these. Yeah.
I said, and I took acid-free archival quality bags and boards for the comic books to him too, and I tried to find something for the poster. When we first met, he's like, "Oh, here's a poster," and I recognized it right away, and it was folded in. And he's like tried to start opening it, and I'm like, no, leave it closed, just leave it closed. It's fine. I know what it is. And then I got to thank Andy, because he really helped me identify which version of that because I don't know the posters, and so I assumed it was an original poster, and it turned out the poster is a second printing of the first movie poster.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So,
look at Jeff here. Jeff Morris says, "Nice finds. Good thing I didn't find them. I'd be tempted to open him."
Hey, you know what? I'll send you. I'll just send these to you loose then.
So Wilhelm says, "Okay, we all need to head over to the guy Jeff bought these from home and beg him to let us use his time machine. It's the only explanation for these conditions. It's ridiculous."
Wow. Gary, when you find things like this and they're all vintage like that and it's got the stickers on there, is it best to just leave the stickers on there as is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
The stickers do not detract, if at all, from the price.
It's kind of funny. You also find collectors that actually want to have like a Toys R Us run or a Toys run or something like that. Yeah, it's a thing.
Wow. This one has a little bit of a ding right here.
Right corner.
Oh yeah, that's really noticeable, that one.
Yeah. Trash it.
Let's post this in the chat. He might take that off you. He'll help you out with that one.
Okay, so
we've got over 55 people, so thank you all very much.
Am I going too slow? Am I going too slow on this?
Oh, you take your time. No. Stu's quiz is not for an hour and a half yet. We've got plenty of time.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Oh, so nice. Look at that.
Yeah, Wizzy, I'm definitely doing that. I'm trying not to grab the bubble at all.
It's like zero fade on the colors. It's just unbelievable.
So Emily says, "Congratulations, Jeff. I'm going to ask Anna for a reaction video once this is uploaded."
You don't want to know her reaction.
I liked Gary's wife's reaction. That was brilliant last year on Gary's wife. Oh man. Oh. I seek out KB stickers. Is that KB Toys? Because we didn't have
KB Toys.
Yeah. So this one has a little bit of dust on it.
Oh, that is one of my favorite card backs.
Yeah,
Look
so
at that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not the variant. It's not the red stripe variant.
no.
Again, it's not worth keeping. Then
I know.
Even Kurt says himself, more trash. I'm in New Jersey. He'll cover shipping for you. He'll do it.
wow.
Yeah.
There's hardly any edge wear on those cards. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Mad, that's why I'm trying to be very, very careful about the edge wear or any bumping.
It kind of puts a TVC figure card to shame, doesn't it? Look out.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
A little bit of a bump there.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Hey, Drew. Jeff, just when I think you can't get more awesome, you go and do this. Jealousy is a real thing. Yeah. After this, I'll give everybody Jeff's address. So
yeah, like say I live in Boise, I meant Denver.
Peter, I'll give you $2 for each of them. They are. That's a deal.
Okay, so this is the worst condition one.
Oh yeah, that's top.
Yeah.
It's got creasing on the top.
Yeah.
I'd still be honoured to have that in my collection, though. That's just amazing.
I know, me too. It's like.
Oh, sorry, I'm making funny noises.
I should charge for this live stream. This
is like OnlyFans for Star Wars fans.
I'd like you to welcome that porn star Martin from a long time.
I already have R5. Okay, R5. Already did.
Wow.
Okay. So this next set is the original 12 figures. And I'll just start. And it's
I have a big patch. Yeah. Brilliant.
I'm not in that. It's not vinyl caped, but it's unpunched. And it's got the toys by Rizzy. I don't know where that's from, but $229 for him.
Oh, wow.
So nice.
And the original
back as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, they're all 12 packs, right? This next
back,
set are all 12 packs.
Yes, all the next set is the original 12 backs. There's the original, according to the Red 5 book, which I've been reading. These are the original 12 back master ones. These are not variants at all or anything like that. They've got the they've got the original Kenner.
Kurt asks, Jeff, do you have the current TVC matches? Would love to see them for comparison.
I don't. That's a good idea. I have one TVC I bought because there's 2 figures out of this whole collection that I don't have. If I had these 2 figures, I'd have the full run of all the Star Wars carded figures. And that's the Boba Fett, which I don't know if I'll ever be able to afford that, and X-Wing Luke. And I do want to try to find X-Wing Luke. And I do have a carded TVC X-Wing Luke over here, but it's behind everything. I can't get to it right now. So I do want to eventually, compare them. But I can tell you what, these original ones, tons better quality. It's a thicker cardboard.
Wow.
A little crease up here on that one. And not the hollow cheeks variant, of course. These are all just the basic variations.
That card. That's how
I know, it's just incredible, isn't it? Incredible.
So there's that one.
As good as the TVC figures are with all the articulation and stuff like that, which I really appreciate, it's not until you see things like this and the card backs and the figures. Yes, they're 5 POA, but do you feel that in like years to come, when people are looking back on TVC figures, they're going to have the same reaction we're having to these, because this is just incredible.
I hope so. I hope they do. I hope there is a generation of kids or 20-something years old that love the TVC, and everyone that I know a lot of us do, but I hope there's a younger generation that's buying this stuff and is into it. And it's a cycle. It's a ebb and flow. You know, if any of our parents were collectors, they probably collected Western stuff, Howdy Doody. But with the explosion of things in the 70s that we had, that completely formed our childhoods. I think we are the first Uber collector generation there is. I don't think there's anything else like us, and hopefully there continues to be so, though.
Yeah.
I always go back to, I mean, one of the reasons I don't do modern stuff, and I know it's a fine line, but this stuff is what I grew up with. This is why I have this emotional reaction to this stuff. That I first saw this collection. I literally teared up a little bit. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And it's why vintage versus modern to me, it's hunt versus chase. And I've said this to Shabby a lot. To me, you hunt vintage, you chase modern. And I started to with classifieds and Black Series, but I'm like, I don't want to chase anymore. I don't want to be friends with the stock boy at Target anymore. You know, that kind of thing. So,
Pete Thompson, that Jeff.
I did that in the 90s when Star Wars stuff came out. You know, the Power of the Force stuff. So, yeah.
Oh, this is a cool. I love this figure.
Yeah. Look at that.
Unpunched and no stickers on it.
Wow. That's pretty much mint, isn't it?
It is.
And that's over 40 odd years old, Jeff. That is insane. That carback's looking better than me.
That's what got me. That's what gets me is like, this stuff had to lay dormant without anybody seeing it or touching it for decades. And because I feel horrible just handling them right here. You know, and it's just like, I don't know.
Okay, you can keep that one. The nicest thing is, though, it's like when Gary and Andy went through it last year. As toy collectors, especially, I mean, look behind Martin right there, and Stu, we've all got them, but you're happy for your friends or people in the community to find this. Yeah, we get a little bit jealous, but not in a bad way. We're like, good on him. That's awesome that you found that.
When Gary and Andy, you guys first started talking about the collection you bought, I'm like, is there some way I can sell something to help buy into that?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think because we all grew up with this sort of stuff, even though it's not ours, we get so passionate and so, that's awesome, you know.
Thanks, Will.
I mean, the good thing is as well with you guys finding this sort of stuff, I can then turn around to Georgie and say, well, you know, Gary and Andy have spent this much on that. Look at this, and look what they spent, and Jeff spent that much on this. So, you know, hey. Hopefully.
Or you use it for your advantage. You say, well, at least I didn't spend $5,000 like Jeff did. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't know. I think this is probably a true statement for every single one of us. But I think if every single one of us found this collection in the wild, they would try to do exactly what I did.
I would have found a way.
You found a way. Yeah,
I would have found a way.
As Goldblum says in Jurassic Park, life finds a way. Collecting finds a way.
Yeah.
Is it one of those things, Jeff, though, and it's the same for you, Gary, when you buy this sort of thing, is there like a tinge of regret that you actually spent that amount of money?
Never.
No.
No way.
Never.
Never. No
That's
way.
a good. That is a good point, though, because I'll be honest, I'd shit myself spending all that money on. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, oh no, what have I done? You know.
So I'll tell you a quick story. I had some pickups yesterday. I bought some graded figures, but I bought them off a Facebook group, and I got so nervous about trying to cut a deal that I just threw the phone to Danielle, and she made the deal.
I'll give you a $5.
I can't do it. I'm good with whatever the number comes out at, but
yeah,
do it because I'm like I know.
Well, do you ever? Because me and you are expats. You know, we live over here. Do you bring your Britishness with you? It's like when my wife will haggle and I won't. I'll just go, oh, okay then. Scuba and Defaults told me off at Joe Fest last year because he went, you can haggle, Shabs, and I was like, oh right.
Shabs,
You've got to haggle. You've got to haggle.
Exactly like that. It's like, oh, okay. Have my money, and then I was like, oh, I think we should do this, and I'm like, you got it. I'm out.
I'm done.
I know exactly what you mean there. Willow says, this is so freaking awesome just to see you going through this school. I'm so happy just to be here. I'm well happy you're here, mate. You're watching.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing this. Yeah, and I appreciate that, Jeff, that you asked me to do it for you. I really appreciate it. I say yes, original toys, the vintage will always be collectible. It's like Superman and Batman comics. That makes sense. There's always going to be somebody out there in future generations.
Those of you guys that know me, I do comic books also. And so I'm just as much into comic books as I am the toys. And when you find something like this in comics, you have to do it too. And because to me, these things have reached a point where the market fluctuations in this, thinking about this fairly from an economical way, the market fluctuations in this stuff are out. They're not going to go down. You're not going to lose value. You're always going to be okay monetarily on this stuff in a long run situation. I don't think, as long as you keep the condition great and doing well, you're not going to lose value on this stuff.
No, not at all. Kieran says, I thought Stu, Martin, and Gary had all frozen. I've never known them to be so quiet.
We'll get to the last few. Yeah.
So if comics are collectible, that none of us were alive for them, of course, toys will be also for those who come in the future who are not alive. Yeah, he's right. He made a point before about saying, they all go mad about the vintage comics. I mean, you're a big comic guy, Jeff, so you'll know this,
Yeah.
Just look at that gold. Is it Golden? Yeah, Golden auction yesterday. Did you see the finalized figure value? 1.342 million.
Yeah, million.
Exactly right.
The Rocket Fire and Boba Fett. Okay, it is
So hang on, that was for just one figure.
It's a Boba Fett, Rocket Fire in Boba Fett with two of the missiles, all of the paperwork in a. I think it was graded.
Oh, that makes it
really nice. Yeah. Frankie put a picture up to show us.
Rocket Fire.
With 28 minutes to go, it was $500,000.
Yeah,
and it ended up at 1.342.
Rocket Fire and Boba Fett come in two variants. L and J.
Yeah.
That's where the rocket. Thing.
Yeah.
And this one was the real rare of the two, where there's only a handful of them. And so anyways,
Gary, stateside with me, Matt. We were sent over by the British government, me and Gary. One day you'll learn the real truth.
Expelled.
Abby and Gary, one day. Do you know what I mean?
Making America Great Britain again, one expat at a time.
I didn't want to say that, but he's right. I bet Sammy would have sold his Subaru together. I would have done. I mean, I'm made up. I just can't believe the price. But the nicest thing, just going back to that price situation, and it's the same, like you said, for Gary and Andy last year. That's why I wanted Gary on. The guy's happy with it, and I know you were apprehensive because it is cheap. Let's be honest, $5,000 is a lot of money, but when it comes to this, it's dirt cheap. Let's be honest. You know,
I mean, as it stands right here, this is a $20,000 collection almost.
Yeah, put up the Chewbacca. That's a $2,500 item just right there on Chewbacca. I want to see Chewbacca. Put him up. Come on,
don't sit there, Gary.
You know what, Stu? I'm never showing a $17.99 Motu figure again. I'm just not doing it.
That's
But that's
that
the
would be
beauty
the
of it,
one
right?
for me.
It could be a $5 item. It could be a $5,000 item. It is. That's what collecting's about as well.
Exactly, Gary.
Yeah.
Oh, who is that
That's
one?
the one.
I didn't see the first look at that.
That's the one.
Yeah, and no sticker on it.
Wow.
And just.
I mean, I think the chances of us finding anything like that over here in the UK is very, very slim.
I was going to ask you, Stu. It would be pallet toy stuff, right?
Sorry, Jeff. What was that, mate?
It would be pallet toy stuff, right?
It would be, and I think we had a lot of the American stuff come over as well, like what you were showing there, the Kenner versions. But I mean, I've given up going around car boots and stuff like that because it just absolute.
Same here. I mean, 20 years ago, to me, you could find this stuff fairly every once in a while, same with comic books. I found an X-Men #1 back at a flea market for $20 back in the 80s, and bought it and then sold it for like 200 years and years ago. Wish I still had it. None of them. But to me, you can't, this stuff doesn't happen anymore. But just when you think it doesn't, then it does.
I agree with Stu. I follow someone called Star Wars Thrifting on Twitter, and she posted a picture yesterday which went to is it a yard sale you call it over there?
Yeah.
And she sent a picture of, basically it was some guy who was selling his entire Star Wars collection for 30 years, just laid out on his lawn. And I've never seen anything like it in my life. I mean, there was more there than I've got in my entire collection just on his lawn. And we would never come across anything like that in this country. That you'd never see it. But I see it quite often on other YouTube channels, on people that go to yard sales in America all the time. It's weekly. So you guys have got such a large,
Well, yeah.
But it is different though. It is different though, Martin, because it's like I'll watch your videos over there, and you'll show stuff we had, especially for me and Gary, living over it, that we had in England that's not sold over here, like Ladybird books or annuals or, you know what I mean, the big yellow teapot, that kind of thing that you're never going to find over here, So I always look at it differently. But it's like you can fit Great Britain in 4 times in the state I live in, and there's 50 of them. So you can imagine how, I mean, sometimes it's like when we go to Joe Fest, the lads will say I'm blown away being, like I said, a British guy over here. When you see this and the stuff that's in boxes, or it's like stuff like this. I mean, when we were kids, there was no way we'd go, well, I'll keep that on card because we just rip them, won't we? You know what I mean? All in your mum's back garden in a way. So
I mean, it's not like that we don't get these kind of figures over here. We do, but you find them at like a toy fair and stuff like that. And some of them, like, they're either graded or, they're asking silly amounts of money for them, and they're nowhere near in that good a condition. And if I did want to spend money on a figure like that, then I would want to make sure it's the best possible version of that figure with a decent card, and it was all like perfect. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be spending a lot of money on something that's like real damaged and like beat up. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what I mean. Yeah, makes perfect sense.
It's crazy. I mean, even the same week I found this, I got notified from a friend of mine. Said, "Hey, I've got a friend having a yard sale. There's some Star Wars stuff there. You should go look at it." I'm like, I was doing some stuff that day. I didn't have time. And they're like, "Did you go see that?" I'm like, "No, I missed it." And they're like, "Well, they're doing it a second day. You should go look at it." I'm like, "Okay." He sent me some photos, and it was all a lot of Star Wars stuff, a lot of movie stuff. And I went over there and just across the valley, and there was a bunch of vintage stuff. There was a boxed Slave One. There was a boxed Jawa Sandcrawler. And I ended up I couldn't afford it at the time because I knew I was trying to save for this. And I ended up getting it for Andy and sending it to him. And
wow.
It was, and that same week, it was an amazing week. I found another small collection off Facebook and bought a boxed Millennium Falcon, and for like $100. And it's just like, and it's just like, you can find it. To me, I found 3 amazing things in 1 week, and I'll never do that again. It'll just never happen. All right, let's keep going. So, Gary.
Oh my God, look at that. Yeah, that just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the 90s stuff, you're right.
It's got a few little rubbings right there.
I love the way you're trying to slate these, Jeff. Like we're gonna go on.
Terrible. Shocking.
You're not had enough yet, Kev. You're not had enough.
Oh, here we go. Listen.
So
white is even before you show it, Jeff. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
Look, there's no.
That is just awesome. What a card that is.
Wow.
Wow. It's unpunched with no sticker on it.
Oh, God damn.
I saw one of those at San Diego Comic Con. It was water damaged, and you wouldn't want to know how much they had priced on a water damaged.
Gilster.
So Gary, let me ask you, how much would that be going for now in that condition, that Princess Leia?
In that Probably high end, close to 2,000, I would say.
just that one figure alone.
Yeah, I mean the Chewbacca is probably the around two and a half. I mean, just look at the condition of it. I mean,
yeah, I know.
And that's large head, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unpunched, no stickers.
Yeah. Look at the color. I mean, the white is just the white is the white.
And the figures haven't yellowed either.
No, that's what. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, hands, torso goes yellow. Arms are white. No, I mean.
And Gilser asks, do they smell like 1977?
They do. Well, and it was mentioned earlier, be careful of the bubbles coming off. Definitely. And I need to figure out a better humidity control and stuff in this room and heat regulation. But the bubbles, there's no separation at all on the bubbles.
Lefko says, why does it say stand solo on the back? Just kidding.
Trust me, I thought of that. It's like, am I getting punked? Am I getting punked here?
What? The sticker is on the R2 unit.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just going to give up collecting right now because I
know what you mean. You just want to just throw yours in the bin, don't you? Like, forget
what's the point? What's the point?
I feel like
incredible.
All this.
I feel like I've got to double my efforts.
Oh my God.
The book. If anybody wants the book, I tried to figure out a way to display the book so I can get to it still. I found a guy on Etsy in Turkey who makes handmade stands for Qurans and Bibles, and so I bought one for my Bible.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Luke Farmboy, ready?
Wow. Yeah, Jeff, let me make you bigger sec. Done.
Now you're just showing off. There you go.
Yeah,
This is Gary's Grail one right here.
Yeah.
Unpunched, no sticker. Absolutely perfect.
Wow.
It's so good. It almost looks like it's someone's done a modern version of it and just
it really does.
An original
yeah.
That's what I agree now too. And this one, there's no creasing or anything in these last few.
Yeah, you don't want that one. Just send it to me. It's fine. You should have 11, not 12.
I sense a bidding war coming on.
Yeah, this is my all-time favorite one. If I ever was to get a carded figure, it would have been this one.
Oh yeah, that's lovely. Oh, unpunched again.
I can't see that not getting an 85 or 90. I mean, just.
I think there's a chance some of these could get a 90. There's a little bit of rubbing on this one in the back.
Okay.
Right here.
Which grading house are you gonna send it to?
I don't know. I've never done anything grading.
Okay.
I don't know.
The answer is AFA. So.
Really?
I mean, if you're gonna do it, they're gonna grade it harsher than anybody else. But if you got to go out for me, you'll
get the most value out of them.
Yeah.
Well, last one.
Claiming Jeff will be installing an electric fence and buying several big dogs right after this live stream. And Left Coast asks, is it too late to claim the hammer? I knew he was going to do that. I think I'll have that.
If I sell any of these, Pete's already claimed the hammerhead.
Yeah, has he? Oh, brilliant. Right, Jeff, is anything else that's coming up?
Last one.
Yeah.
Sorry, look at it.
I know.
Because it's Star Wars,
Insane.
I mean, I got an AFA.
$5,000. That's not even £5,000 either. It's just mental.
So you could basically, you've paid for all those figures for one figure, more or less.
Pretty much.
Well, I think I was telling you guys before. I just watched on Hake's auctions. Was it Hake's or Heritage last week? A graded 8.5 Farm Boy Luke sold for $5,400. It's just like, okay.
Nobody knows what to say. Everyone's
speechless.
Get him graded. Get him graded.
It's great, this guy. I've had 60 people in the chat and I've said nothing. Just feel like, what do you say? It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm gonna. There's about 4 or 5 of these I want to get graded. The ones that are unpunched, and the ones that are the popular figures. Luke, the Stormtrooper. I don't know, Gary. I might have to consult with you on which ones to.
You got to do the 12. I mean, just commit. Just don't do 4. You got to commit. Do the first 12. I mean, you've got the first 12 bags.
Yes.
How many people in the world have all 12 in a high grade like that?
Yeah,
Not many,
like
I
that,
wouldn't think,
Martin,
Jeff.
yeah, I agree.
The worst grade you're going to get with that creasing is like a 75, 70, 75 plus. So you got to do the whole 12.
What does it cost? What's it cost to grade them?
Don't worry about that.
A lot less than you paid for that collection, Jeff.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah,
we'll all chip in. It's fine.
Yeah. It's got to be done.
Jeff has done a great job getting them retro collection stickers removed.
Rubbing out those white marks.
Yeah. I could do like Nick. I could do like the drummer from Pink Floyd, Nick Mason, does with his Ferraris and sell partial ownership.
You need to bronze that man's brother's name into your prayer book, because if you didn't pray before, now is the time to start. Yeah, Jeff, you have to start a GoFundMe for the grading costs. We'll all chip in.
You could sell the Hammerhead and the Greedos to pay if grading was an issue. I mean,
okay, so that's my dilemma. I originally went into this going, I gotta keep for myself the original 12, but then I got looking at these. And I'm like, I'm only too short of having a full Star Wars carded run.
Too short.
Can I just ask a question? You just put 2 comments up there from Left Coast and Super Awesome saying they wouldn't grade it. Why would you guys not grade those?
You'll lose them. You could have a chance of losing in the mail and stuff.
I like that people have different opinions with stuff. So I'm all for stuff like that. Yeah. Would they be grading in a massive box? Crikey. That's around 3,900 Great British pounds, Jeff, as Arkeen says. Super Awesome says a lot of grading companies are proving to be scan artists, changing what you send them and all that. Now, Gary, you've done a lot of grading. What do you think to that?
No, there's a small element of what's gone on, especially with comics. But the reality is that, I mean, you acrylic case is minimum, but if I had those 12, I would go to AFA. AFA is great. Get them graded. I mean, what an investment! And look at the scores you're going to get. You're going to be minimum 80, 85s, maybe even a 90. What that Stormtrooper? If you had a 90 Stormtrooper, I mean,
I think the Farm Boy Luke could do a 90. Actually,
just show us that Farm Boy Luke again, Jeff.
Look at the arms compared to the torso on this. It's just,
I mean, I've got an 85 plus, and I don't think it's as good as that.
Do you want to just quickly go through the story again, Jeff, for chocolate chip?
I bought these off of a guy I work with. That's as short as I can make it.
Watch it.
Definitely the Reader's Digest version, Jeff.
Yeah.
Cliff notes. Just Cliff notes.
Yeah.
Well, for me, Jeff, sincerely, congratulations, because that is just awesome. I've literally been blown away by this personally.
Really happy for you, mate.
Everybody else is feeling the same way.
I agree with you. Made up for you, mate. I am absolutely made up. So a lot of people. That's interesting, though. As someone who's never graded anything, I find that interesting. I don't know about you guys. Some people are all for it. Some people are against it. Do you know what I mean?
After hearing Andy's horror story about the grading, but also knowing what you get after you get it done, it's a leap of faith a little bit. I've already ordered the acrylics for 12. I've ordered 12 acrylics from Ian's displays because those are just amazing what he does. And so those are coming in. And actually I was just emailing him earlier, and he's going to send them.
When was the last time we saw 2? Right, pal. That's awesome, right? 2. Oh, everyone's coming.
Yeah, this is cool, you guys. I really appreciate all the support. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I have white gloves from years ago when I had some stuff like that, and I need to. These are going back in the star cases. I'm not taking them out. I wish the star cases were better.
Yeah, careful. Put them in the star cases.
I know.
You're clamping them down. I mean, leave them there.
I know. Yeah.
So if anyone's got any questions in the chat for Jeff before we finish up, And then, because we're all gonna go over to our stews, get our cup of tea, watch our stew. So if anyone's got any questions before we finish, now's your time. I second that. Congratulations, Jeff. Incredible find. Yeah, it was. Adam says happy for you. Jealous. I think that's the way we all feel. Exactly right. You're envious. You're like, what? But you could be more happy,
I always was. I always have those stories too. It's like, oh my God, if only it can happen to you.
Even chocolate chips, like, and he'd no money. We've seen his vintage collection, Gary? It's not bad at all what chocolate chips got. So yeah, that is a lifetime thing. Excellent haul, Jeff. Really remarkable.
I like what Connor said. Those two that I'm missing, that could be my hunt from now on. But I'll never be able to afford a Boba Fett on that Star Wars card in that kind of grade to match these. Maybe the Luke. Gary's looking around like he has it. One of the ones? That's one of the ones you guys got, isn't it, in your collection?
No, I got we ended up with the Droids Boba
Fett. The Droids one, yeah.
And then that's the one that Andy had, and then I had regret, and then picked it up at an auction. So I went back and picked that one up. So
yeah.
Chocolate chip says, just be careful with them in the star cases. Yeah, right. They're easy to put in, though, aren't they? I've never done it. Do you just slide them in, Gary, and just put
No, it's a pop-on. So you've got like basically a case that kind of has a recess in it, and then you just clip the back on. So it can put pressure marks on the cards.
Yeah, so you got to be careful with these because the figure just rests on here, and then you put that through friction over the top, and you got to be careful about compression on the cards and stuff.
Yeah.
So I put this table up for the stream, and I'm tempted just to leave it up and leave them there flat for a while.
You've got a question. You still have my address, right, Jeff? That's what I'm for.
I do.
Yeah, Jeff, it was awesome that you've shown them off, man. I mean, it's like what we've all said, and that's two people I know that have been massive. Well, three, obviously Andy as well, but three of you that have come up with massive scores
from GeForce. Love it. Yeah, but yeah, this farm boy.
Active podcasts. That's a question for Jeff. Did a little bit of wee come out when you were off?
Yeah. Well, when I made the offer, he's like, "I can do that." I went, "Oh."
Well, how were you, Gary? How was your? When you? I mean, it's easy seeing the pictures, like when Andy sent them to you. But what were you like when you actually saw it? Were you cool, or were you like,
No. So I mean, even driving to the venue, I think me and just Andy were just freaking out, and then we arrive, and then the guy wanted to show us absolutely everything. So there was like a time limit in terms of what we had to kind of have a look at. Just make sure everything was kosher. And we had a van outside waiting to ship the product from Chicago down to Texas. And the guy wanted to show us everything. I mean, literally opened up every single box. We were over 2.5 hours just going through stuff. And, even stuff like a bubble hat come out, an old woolly hat, and then Andy's putting the hat on and stuff like that.
It's his collection.
Just hilarious. We were like kids in a candy store for sure.
Yeah,
and then Jeff, be careful when you're handling, because I also did that and dropped one and dinged the corner on a
okay. So
as well.
When I first met John, we went out to the parking lot at work, and he opened up his hatchback on his Subaru, and there's the stuff, and we're laying them out, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I dropped the sand person card onto the asphalt.
I'll give you 4.8.
Oh, I'm like, oh, sorry, John. He's like, oh, no, that's okay. I'm like, no, it's not, but okay. Please don't kill me.
Well, this is how it's getting, because Lefko says he's only found a 12-back Ben and Chewie in the wild over 25 years of collecting. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
It's unbelievable what you found. Yeah, our gas has never been so flabbered. Yeah, it's amazing. All sales are final.
Yeah, you guys, I've been giddy. I've been giddy for 2 days for this, knowing I was going to get the money and get this, because knowing this was going to actually.
Our Des says something important here, because I've never thought about this. Have you ever noticed your insurance company?
Yes.
So you are doing that?
I am. My collection is insured underneath a homeowner's policy, but these are higher end ones. So if most people homeowners policy covers their collections, you just need to document the hell out of it so that if something does happen, you can prove that you had it. Any photography and videos are the best ways to do it. So if you guys are adding to your collection all the time, every few months, go through and just photograph it and video it so that you can individually go, oh, I have this piece, I have that piece. And then for these, since they're higher end, I'm going to individually list these ones on my insurance. I'm going to call them up on Monday, and it'll raise my insurance rates, but I've got to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got any other questions to ask our Jeff before we shoot off?
Yeah. You guys, thanks.
That's so true. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I would say there are less than 103 of Action Comic #1.
I've never seen one.
I suppose you're used to kind of grading anyway, Jeff, because you've done that with your comics. I mean, some of the comics you've done.
And the comic book process is a lot easier. You can actually even do it through your local comic book store. Most of them will send in lots every few months, and you can just say, hey, can you, for a small charge, they'll do it. And I've got a buddy he sends a lot in, so he sends things in for me. So yeah, comic books are a lot easier, and there's a couple different comics companies to do it from. CGC is the biggie, and you're going to get the most value out of those doing it. So I do it through CGC, but I've got a bunch of graded comics. But I've looked into the submission process for AFA, and it's like trying to find your way through a dungeon. It's ridiculous how kind of complex it can be. So I was going to do it years ago for my loose figures, but I never did. And I don't know, but I definitely am going to do it with these.
Yeah.
Wow.
Andy's got it down to a fine art. So
he does. I'm going to
see
see Andy in about a month. I'm going to drive to Portland for a Comic-Con, and Andy and I are going to get together, and Josh, and hang out for the day. And so I'll pick his brain more about it then too.
But that's the thing. You have people around you that know this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Gary, Gary, I know you. I'll probably be picking your brain about it too and stuff. And I know there's some things out of the collection once I get the rest of it that I know you and I are going to talk about.
That's awesome.
We are.
All right. Well, that's it.
I'll have to give you my number.
For an ugly cue, Martin. Just basically, be English. You up. #1.
I'm good at queuing. Don't worry.
Next
I don't cut lines like Americans.
He'll have all Jeff's behind him. Where did he get them from, Stu? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can't wait for IKEA to fill this space right here.
Yeah. That was sad. What happened to Andy? Wasn't it? That was sad. But I wouldn't necessarily. That was the grade. That could have happened. Sending something to somebody.
The grading company was great. It was UPS that did that.
Yeah, exactly. They just won't do it for the insurance.
Yeah, I trust the grading companies. It's the shipping process that I don't like.
Yeah. I understand.
It's the wait. I mean, it's not for the faint-hearted, just because of the time that it takes.
Right.
So, I mean, you're gonna release them, and maybe 12 months you're gonna get them back, and that's a long time. You have to forget about it.
Yeah.
And even when we sent off the Harbor Yoda, it was like a 30-day turnaround, and we waited just over 3 months before it was graded.
Did you guys have to pay extra for that quick turn?
Yeah, we did, but I mean, we were supposed to be 30 days. It ended up being over 3 months. So
did they give you a refund for that?
No,
of course not.
But that's okay. It paid for itself.
Yeah, it does pay for itself. Yeah, you guys are not in the red for that collection at all anymore.
Yeah,
definitely not.
Well, so anyone that doesn't know, you can find Jeff at Chasing 80s, even though he's on high. When was the last time you made a video for Chasing 80s, Jeff?
Christmas time. I'm horrible at it, you guys. I just don't do stuff very much.
Obviously, you can find Gary, you can find Stu at Universal Toy Collecting, you can find the lovely Martin at a long time ago. But anyway, we're all going to watch Stu. Stu's on in 2 hours, so we'll definitely watch that.
An hour.
Jeff, you've been brilliant, man. And I'm sorry.
Thanks
so watch Stu tomorrow, Monday. No. Let's do it now.
You guys, I want to thank you. This community is amazing, and thank you guys for jumping on the stream with me.
No, thank you for inviting us. It's been absolutely incredible, mate. It really has. Wow, what a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for indulging my ramblings.
No, we had over 60 people in the chat, so I think
Wow.
I think it went down pretty well, that Jeffers. I think yeah, what a collection, man. It's just like we said to Gary and Andy last year, for you lads to find stuff like this, we couldn't be more happier for you. I mean, it's
crazy. It's just crazy what we do.
Crazy, really is. All right, well, we'll see you all soon. We'll see you at Stu's. Tub Thumpers on Wednesday. We'll see you all later on. Wave,
Thanks,
boys.
all.
Ta-ra.
See ya.